we're gonna be doing another tier list video. Old Apex versus new Apex. Actually, I don't think you guys can see. Yeah, you guys can't actually see because of my face cam, but I have all of the little splash screens laid out for the different seasons. This one right here is just season 0. They didn't have a number. I'm gonna go through each one of these. I already went through like the wiki to like refresh my memory, and I've gone through my old videos to kind of see what happened each season. But there's probably gonna be things that I miss. Don't get mad. Okay, I don't have that big of a brain. Forehead is humongous, but brain unfortunately is so starting us off is season well, I guess the preseason, right? So when Apex first launched, those early days of PEX Legends, everyone was new. It just kind of popped out of nowhere on February. Was it February 2019? There wasn't really much going on for that first preseason era. It only lasted about a little over a month before season 1 hit. But we did get the Havoc. We did get like a small Valentine's Day event. But honestly, preseason Apex was the I don't want to say it's the golden age, but it was definitely one of the most memorable times. You know, original Skull Town when no one knew what they were doing. Even though it was didn't have much in the content space, Apex has just come out. Everyone was still exploring. I would rank this as a S tier season. Now, next up was season 1. That one happened around, let me look at my notes here, March 19th to June 18th. So it only lasted, it lasted 90 days. So most of these seasons last 90 days. I remember this season with lots of hesitation. At this point, I had quit my full-time job and I dived right into Apex, but I don't think Respawn had predicted this massive sort of interest in Apex. So season 1 honestly was a really, really weak season. There wasn't that much content out at the time. We did get Octane, which was like the first new legend, but there weren't that many events for this new season. The Battle Pass skins I think were pretty rough. Not saying they're bad, they're just not my taste. The Battle Pass, yeah, it just wasn't that great. And the one saving grace for season 1, I will say, the one saving grace for season 1 was at the very end. They had a event. I forgot the name of it. Let me take a look at it. Legendary Hunt. Yes, Legendary Hunt was when we got Elite Q, and that was probably one of my favorite events ever. Elite Q, for those that don't know, was like the precursor to ranked. It was basically get top 5. If you can get top 5 in a PUD match, you get put into a queue with everyone else who was in top 5, or what's top 3, whatever it was, top 5, top 3. So you can sit in, and there was like a crazy, really hard badge called the Elite 8 badge, where you had to get like 8 wins on 8 different legends, all in Elite Queue, and it was like stupidly difficult because if you drop that Elite Queue, then you have to get back into a normal pub to get the top 5. It was hard. It was lots of fun. So season 1 really weak. I feel like with such a strong start in Apex, I feel like in some ways it did contribute to people losing interest in Apex just because there just wasn't much going on. But at the very end, Elite Queue was awesome. I think Respawn was trying to figure out ranked. I would call it. I want to call it an ugh tier, but because Elite Q was there, I would say it's D tier. But I really feel like it should be ugh and a half if there's any way to do that. We'll put it in ugh tier for now, but maybe we'll upgrade it once we get more of these in. But season 1 was definitely one of my least favorite ones. Season 2, however, was really strong. We got Watson, the L-Star LMG, or EMG, I guess. Though the L-Star was originally a care package weapon, so it didn't really feel like we got a new weapon because it was always locked up in the care pack, and at that, it wasn't very good compared to the Kraber Mastiff back in the day. But that aside, we did get a massive change in Kings Canyon. We got one of my most favorite LTMs of all time in season 2. That was solos, and that was in the Iron Crown event, I believe. Are my notes correct? The Iron Crown event, which also brought us the Octane jump pad town takeover in Kings Canyon, as well as the Bloodhound heirloom. I don't know. I think there was a lot going on in season 2, and there was a lot of fun new content. It was really exciting. I think ranked was also ranked. Yes, I think ranked also made its debut in season 2. There was the Voidwalker events where we got the Sing Labs as There was also an LTM like Armed and Dangerous. I think this was the first time we saw that LTM Armed and Dangerous. Yeah, season 2 is incredible. I think content-wise, it was probably one of the most action content-packed stuff. Of course, all the changes to King's Canyon. I forgot to mention that the Leviathans like destroying stuff, and they were like everywhere, and they would stomp on you. Jesus, we got a lot of stuff. Holy cow! In season 2, I'm just looking at my notes here. We got a lot of stuff in season 2. I think season 2 was probably one of the best seasons. I would say A or S. I would say it was an S tier season. It was really solid, really solid. Tons of new content in season 2. Next up is season 3, and God, there were so many memories with season 3. Respawn kind of like kept up the hype with season 3. This one was a little bit longer of a season. It was an extra month, I think, so it was like 120 or some days. Season 3, we got our first brand new map. I believe it happened around October. Yeah, season 3 was from October to February of 2020. So October 2019 to February 2020. Very long season. We got a brand new map, World's Edge. Crypto was also the new character that got released. Charge Rifle, which was so busted. Oh God, this Charge Rifle was so busted. We got new hop-ups, Double Tap, and I think Anvil Receiver were introduced. Sadly, Skull Piercer and Disruptor runs had to be bolted. We had our very first Halloween event, the Fight or Fright collection event or whatever. We got the Lifeline drumsticks in that one. God, we had the Mirage Voyage. That was also added in season 3. We got added the firing range, which is pretty nice, because I think at the time people were stuck with using the tutorial to like practice in the firing range. But now we got a standalone firing range. Dude, I didn't realize this, but we had 2 heirlooms. I'm looking at my little notes here. We had Pathfinder heirloom and also the Lifeline heirloom. And then that season, we also had the Holiday Bash collection event. Ooh. So that was both the very first Christmas and Halloween. And I remember Capital City being dolled up, dressed up for Christmas. That was such a vibe. It had this giant Christmas tree in the middle of Capital City. That was, honestly, season 3 was pretty incredible. Looking back at it now, like it was a bit longer of a season, but I feel like it also kept up with the content. There was a bunch of new stuff. It also had my favorite event, not my favorite limit time mode, but my favorite sort of like general event, and that was the Grand Soiree event, where I think it was for like 2 weeks. There was a new game mode every other day. It was incredible. Like there was just so much new stuff to like soak up. I don't know how Respawn did it. Like season 3 was incredible. God, that was definitely S tier. Season 3 was incredible. I remember thinking back when season 3 came out, because we were all invited to LA to record for season 3 early, and I remember thinking like, dude, Apex has such a bright future. It was such an incredible moment to be invited out there at the time to really experience it firsthand and then get to release it early. It was just so awesome. Next up is season 4. This is when Revenant came out, I think, and it had like one of the coolest trailers, I believe, with the Revenant reveal. I think it's probably my favorite one. Was this the one where like they juked people into thinking that Forge was coming out, and then like he died because like Revenant killed him? That was honestly one of the most hyped moments ever as far as like the trailers and the lore goes. This was also where World's Edge gets messed up, and you know, Capital City becomes 2 separate. There's Fragment and East and West. Revenant gets released, like I said earlier. I think the Sentinel got released, but then they also changed it so there's now a new weapon class called Sniper Ammo. We also had the System Override Collection event. There we had at that point we had the LTM mode called like Deja Loot or something. Deja Loot, I believe. I personally didn't really like Deja Loot as an LTM, but it did have Evo shields, which later on became the standard for shields. It's kind of interesting thing that Respawn, at the time, Respawn was experimenting a lot with different game mechanics, and they put it in LTMs to, I guess, get data or impressions on what the players thought of new items. Yeah, Evo shields, that was a plus. That was really cool. We got Octane's heirloom, and then the last thing was the Bloodhound Trials town takeover. So yeah, I mean, I would say this one, season 4, had some pretty hype moments, but I wouldn't say it was like an S tier season. I thought it was you know, a pretty good follow-up to season 3, but nothing super mind-blowing. I would say it was pretty middle of the pack, so not terrible, but not super crazy good. I would say this is a B tier season. Season 5. Now this one was pretty nuts. Season 5 was a bit of a sleeper hit because I feel like season 5 didn't have like a new map or anything, but at the time, I remember my videos were doing so well. I think there was like just so much interest in Apex for some reason at the time. There was a bunch of new content. I mean, we got Loba. King's Canyon was back with tons of changes. I mean, we had the crypto town takeover, but it wasn't just the town takeover, the crypto scanning room. It was also like those hidden underground vaults and bunkers that we can like kind of explore, and there's a ton of like lore Easter eggs. I really love that. There's also the quest. This is the first time where we had the quest with like the broken, I think it was called the Broken Ghost, where you get to like go to this alternate reality where Revenant was taking over the Shadow Realm, and there was like shadow prowlers, and you had to put Ash together, and there was a giant awesome reveal at the end where like Ash is put together. It was so hype. Season 5 was probably one of my favorite seasons. We got the Mirage Heirloom in this one. The what else did we get? Mobile respawn beacons. That was a huge plus. Wait, hold up. So where would season 5 go? I would say season 5 was an A tier season. I would put it in S, but I didn't have too many S tier seasons. Season 6. So season 6, I think it's probably my favorite splash screen out of all of these, but this one was when season 6 is when Rampart came out, the Vault came out. I believe there were changes to World's Edge. Yep, there were changes to World's Edge. We got the crafting stations. We got regular shields were gone, so we only got Evo shields. But overall, I felt like this was I remember thinking at the time, I remember feeling this was probably one of the weakest seasons. Taking a look here, we had as far as events goes, we had the September Soiree event, which was basically like a dumbed down, recycled version of the original Grand Soiree event, and it just wasn't as good. It just wasn't. I don't think they added any new modes, and it just felt a little bit disappointing. There was cross-platform that was added to season 6 in the aftermarket collection event, where we also got one of my favorite heirlooms, the Caustic heirloom. So this was the second year of Apex, and we kind of got a new Shadow Royale, but it was kind of like the same, more or less the same, but there's a different spin on the Shadow Royale, but it was essentially a very similar game mode. So I don't know. Season 6, I didn't really like season 6. Rampart wasn't incredibly good, so she didn't feel like super impactful. The Vault was amazing, but honestly, that's probably my only favorite part about season 6 was probably the Vault. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, season 6, but you're gonna have to go into D tier. I didn't like season 6 that much. Season 7 though was pretty hype. This was under the new map season. We got Horizon. Olympus was incredible. I still to this day, I think Olympus is probably one of my favorite maps. There was a Steam release. The new items that were dropped weren't that interesting. What was it, like quick draw or something? And there wasn't really a new gun either for season 7. So I feel like even though season 7 was really hype in the new Legend, Horizon, and the Olympus launch, there was also some drawbacks. In season 7, it kind of lined up right with Christmas, so we got a essentially recycled version of the Holiday Bash event with Winter Express. I'm not a huge fan of the recycled event in Winter Express personally. I never was really that into it. We did get Fight Night. Which was pretty cool, which was the Pathfinder town takeover. And we did get the Gibraltar heirloom, which was also pretty solid. Yeah, this was the first season where they integrated the LTMs into the main mode. So this was, I think it was called Airdrop Escalation, where you airdrops dropped a bunch, and there was a bunch of like crazy loot, like kitted out guns, like different tiers. I don't know. Season 7. It was hype because of the new map, but I feel like the rest of the season didn't have that much when you compare to the other seasons. Yes, you did have a town takeover, and yes, you did have an heirloom drop, but I was kind of, and an LTM, I guess, but I kind of was hoping for more in season 7. I think a new weapon would have been nice in season 7. I'm kind of surprised they didn't release one that season. I would say this one was kind of like more middle of the pack. I would say like it was like a C or B. It's kind of hard to tell. You know what? I'm looking at this tier list, I think I want to switch season 4 with season 7. Yeah, I'd say the only saving grace for season 7 was that we got a new map. Season 4 might be the more solid season overall, but new map is pretty major. So I would say season 4 and season 7 are pretty close. Oh, I just remember we had season 4, we had duos. Jesus Christ, I totally forgot about that. I wasn't a huge fan of duos. I was more of a solos guy. But season 8, we got Fuse. We got our boy Fuse, and a huge change to Kings Canyon. I actually really like the changes to Kings Canyon. Got the 30-30 repeater, which honestly is still a little bit underwhelming. Fuse also wasn't that great, but he's pretty fun. He's pretty fun. In season 8, we had the anniversary events. We actually had 2 collection events in season 8. So we had one where it was the anniversary one where we got the heirloom shards and a locked and loaded LTM. And there's a second one which was Chaos Theory. That's right, Chaos Theory, where we got the heat shields, Nintendo Switch release. The caustic treatment. I actually I was so hyped for that one, for that Caustic Town takeover, but it's so far out of the way. Like it's out of the middle of nowhere. And then of course the Bangalore heirloom, which I thought was a really solid heirloom. We also got War Games in this event. War Games is really solid. I really enjoyed War Games, but it kind of broke. If I remember correctly, like we were kind of stuck on like armor regen for a while, but I remember Second Chance was loads of fun, but that only lasted for an afternoon. I would say season 8 was pretty good. I would say it wasn't my favorite season, but it wasn't terrible by any means. Oh man, season 8 also had that Ash teaser with arenas. You gotta like go to different parts on like King's Canyon, like to decrypt the code, and then call in the dropship, and then you get taken to like the arenas. I think that was super hype. Yeah, season 8, probably I would say like a B tier, honestly. It was a B tier season, maybe even A. God, the lines are so blurred with these seasons, because I think season 5 was definitely better than season 8, but season 8 might not. It's in some ways, like B and C are so interchangeable. Like in some ways season 8 was better than season 7, in some ways season 4 was better than season 7, but season 7 had a new map, so in a lot of ways it was better than either of these. It's so hard to tell. I would say B and C are kind of like one tier, honestly. Season 9, well, aka Legacy. So for whatever reason, Respawn decided to give them names instead of numbers. I actually kind of preferred the numbers, but Legacy was huge on release. We had Valkyrie, we had Arenas, which was like this hype new game mode. We had the bow check bow, which was so fun on release. It was absolutely a blast on release. It had a really strong start, but just off memory, I remember it being like really weak for the rest of the season. It just, nothing really happened. And maybe that has to do with the fact that I'm just not a huge arenas guy. I mean, I know they put in a lot of work to arenas. They have new maps for arenas, but it just honestly, arenas just wasn't, I mean, it was fun, but it just isn't necessarily my cup of tea in the long term. As far as events, we had the Genesis collection event where we got the Revenant heirloom. And funny thing about the Genesis collection event, it forced us to play on the OG maps of King's Canyon and World's Edge. So the original King's Canyon was Skull Town, and I feel like this was Respawn giving the Apex community the medicine, because I feel like the Apex community has rose-colored lenses when it comes to like the old maps. Everyone's like, oh man, Skull Town was the shit. Oh my god, Capital City was amazing. And then we played on that for 2 weeks and it was so bad. The maps loot table, the old maps loot table were terrible, and because Skull Town existed in the original King's Canyon, because of how good players had gone at that point, whenever the map would be on OG King's Canyon, like everyone would land Skull Town, then everyone will die by the first ring. So it led to like really stale pub matches. I wasn't a huge fan of the Genesis collection event, though we did get the Revenant heirloom, which is probably one of the best heirlooms. We also got Thrill Seekers, and this is sort of the beginning of when I feel like, you know, LTM start to kind of disappear, and then we're starting to get more arenas based stuff. Thrill Seekers was another collection event where, God, what I don't even know what. Thrill Seekers wasn't a Thrill Seekers, just had Overflow. Yes, Thrill Seekers was the Overflow map for arenas. And like I said before, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I'm not a huge arenas guy, and so I didn't really I didn't really enjoy it. Like, I didn't really enjoy Season Legacy, Season 9. Is it Season 9? Season 9. Just because, like, I felt like it just didn't have enough. Yes, I had, like, a really strong launch, but I feel like after that, there just wasn't that much there. I would say Legacy, I mean, really strong launch, maybe better than Season 6, but God, I don't know. I guess maybe it's a D tier. Maybe we'll have to move Season 6 to ugh tier, you know? Man, maybe I'm being too harsh on Legacy. Maybe it should be in C tier. I don't know. It's so hard to judge these seasons because some had like a really strong start, some had like a really weak end. If there was a D.5, I would. Maybe C. Yeah, maybe C tier. Maybe C tier. Yeah, but I felt like Season 4 was better. I felt like Season 4 was considerably better than Season 9. But in a different way. I feel like anything in the middle is always so hard to differentiate, but this is kind of like my best guess. Season 10, aka Emergence, we have Seer, which was probably one of the most hated legends on release, and the Rampage. Yeah, Season 10, we did see that change in World's Edge, pretty considerable to like Sorting Factory got blown up and Lava Siphon and a bunch of other places were added, but honestly, there were good changes to World's Edge, but content-wise, I felt like it wasn't not my favorite when compared to the other seasons. We had the Evolution collection event, which actually wasn't bad. We got the Rampart Heirloom, and then Big Mod. I think Big Mod was probably one of my favorite town takeovers. I think that was pretty solid. Season 10, we also got, this was right around Halloween of 2020, or 2021 rather, when Season 10 came out. And they recycled Shadow Royale again, and I don't know. It didn't feel like anything fresh or new. It was called the Monsters Within event, and we got Encore, which was another Arenas map. So that combined with the fact that it was the Monsters Within event also had a recycled Halloween mode. I wasn't a huge fan of Emergence. The one highlight I really liked about Emergence was the Bloodhound. It was like this Bloodhound in-game quest. It was called Old Ways New Dawn. Yeah, that was really hype. They did, the lore team, story narrative team did a solid job with that. But overall, I don't think it was. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of the season. I would say it's probably between it's probably and a half, probably like a D. We'll call it a D, because I don't think it was as bad as Season 1, or Season 6. Yeah, we'll call it D tier. Finally, we're at the current season, Escape. We got Storm Point, Ash, super hyped legend, probably my favorite legend release ever. Yeah, everyone really liked Ash. The car SMG was fantastic. I love the car. The new map is nice for ranked. I liked it for ranked. Pubs, I think it's a little too big or a little too slow for pubs. But that being said, the map itself is gorgeous. I mean, that's no debate. We had the Raiders mode in Escape, which was when we got the Watson Heirloom. Watson Heirloom, also an amazing heirloom, but that event overlapped Christmas, and the LTM for that mode was the Winter Express again. And you guys know how I feel about Winter Express. I don't know. I guess I just don't really like recycled stuff. I mean, especially for holidays. I remember back in Overwatch, like they reused the same event like way too many times. We did get custom crosshair reticles, which I think was a huge plus. There was also the Gridiron store event. I don't even know if you can call it an event. It was more of like a sale, but it was in tandem with that cinematic with Bangalore, which I think was pretty hype. But I'm kind of weirded out because there wasn't any sort of in-game thing. It was just like, here's your trailer, and then here's like the store sale. So I don't. The Dark Depths thematic event, which is the latest one we got, was another Arenas edition, and I don't know, man. I'm not again, I just don't play Arenas. Respawn kind of release content for stuff that I don't really particularly enjoy in the long term. Sure, I can hop on Arenas and play for like a few hours for a new event or anything, but it's just not really my speed. I'm a BR guy at the end of the day. I signed up for Apex for the Battle Royale, and that's really what I enjoy. So Dark Depths, I mean, it just didn't it just didn't have that much. I like the skins though. The Dark Depths skins were pretty sick. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like whenever there's a new map, it is really hype in the beginning, like a super strong start, and then like it kind of like peters out towards the end. I'm trying to think where to put this. Escape. It definitely, to me, it's definitely not one of my favorite seasons. So probably not S or A. It's kind of tough to say. I would say Escape is somewhere here, B or C. Right now, I feel like so far it's probably C tier, which kind of feels bad because like there was a new map, but because of how much arena stuff, it just doesn't really interest me as much. The new map is nice. The new Legend and Gun were amazing. I feel like that should carry to B, maybe. Maybe I should just get rid of a C tier. Maybe they just shouldn't be a C tier because I feel like B and C are so close. Here, we'll do this. We'll rename this. So this is gonna be. It should be like this. This is what the tier should be. It should be like C tier, C.5, and then B, because I think these are all very close, like pretty much interchangeable. Yeah, looking at this, I think one thing I would really like Respawn to do is kind of like integrate more of the stuff from like the earlier seasons, right? Like experiment with. In the early days of Apex, there was a lot of experimentation going on with Evo armor, Elite Q, Solo Q, heat shields. You know, there's a bunch of like new stuff, and I wish Respawn would go back to that. Like, I don't know, like we could use with a new healing item, you know, or maybe a new grenade or something. I also would like them to take a look at Season 5 because I think that was such a strong season without needing a new map. Like honestly, it was an incredible season. Like there was so much cool stuff to explore and so much lore to unpack, and the quest was amazing because you had the comic and the in-game thing. Like I love the in-game stuff. I think it's awesome. As I'm looking at this now, I would say, God, it's so hard to say because I don't want to put Escape in C.5, but I feel like Season 8 and Season 7 were better than Escape. Season 7 also had some interesting charm to it too. There were so many funny bugs in Season 7, but that's just more of like a content creator's wet dream. They're just so much fun to be had in Season 7. Yeah, I would say Season 7 is definitely better than Escape. S tier, I think these are all interchangeable. Season 5 stands on its by itself in A tier. Season 7 I think was better than Season 8, but not by much. Escape is better than Season 4. Legacy, I think, was better than Emergence, and then Season 6 was better than Season 1. Yeah, I think that is the tier list. That's kind of what we got. I wonder if there's any other closing notes. Are there any other closing notes? Let me know if you guys agree, disagree. There's probably a ton of things I missed. Events, skins, just there's so much. I mean, there's no way I can possibly cover the entirety of the Apex Legends history. I mean, all the cinematics are friggin' sick. So I didn't really want to like put that into the equation for this tier list, but hope you all enjoyed my little ranking here. Let me know if you guys agree, disagree, if there's anything you would change or not. Season 12 is, I don't want to say right on the corner, but it is like, what, 20 days away? So it's not too far off. And we'll see what the rest of Season 11 has for us, Escape. So maybe if there's additional content, maybe they'll bump it up to a B. But for now, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.